2023. This is the Break of Dawn paper review. We'll take a look at the headlines, bring you the analysis, and of course, take your reactions to the stories of the day. My name is Kenny Dorotilu.
And I am DENIKE Ademoagun. Good morning. And we start from the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. And the first story here says Yakasai, others knock government over demolished roundabout. And some more stories. Pro-chancellors hail Tinubu over Student Loan Act. And right here, Tinubu suspends EFCC chair indefinitely. Others probe. Student loan disbursement begin in September. Federal government. President projects 500,000 jobs with data protection law. And to the major story, currency floating. Private sector economists back CBN. Naira falls to 664 Naira per dollar. And their riders to that, CBN allows banks to sell dollar at own price, removes cap on exchange rate. Economists, analysts worry over central bank capacity to stabilize exchange rate. And Lagos police brutalized strip lady over cultism allegation. And some more stories. Prosecutes Justice Bokachua's husband. NBA tells federal government. Tinubu mourned 106 Kwara boat accident victims, 144 rescued. That's on the red corner of the Punch. No division in Akeredolu's cabinet, states acting governor. And we take two more stories before we move to another paper. And this one says Kuje prison escapee nabbed for burglary in Nasarawa. And finally, nothing wrong in Kwakwanso Tinubu romance, Ogun NNPP.
All right, from the Premium Times newspaper, suspended EFCC chair Abdul Rashid Bawa detained is the major story. Elsewhere, you find this one, Baba Aisha, NAFDAC launches probe after Premium Times investigation. CBN announces unification of FX windows, abolishes Naira for dollar scheme. Naira records biggest fall as Nigeria eyes monetary policy reset. Special report here from the Premium Times. Nigeria's oil palm sector struggling as demand surge. All you need to know about green hydrogen, relevance to energy transition drive, is an explainer there from the Premium Times this morning as well. Hajj 2023, 75 pregnant pilgrims referred to hospitals in Makkah, Medina, Nakon. Senate writes Tinubu on inauguration. Tony Lumelu, family raised stake in Transcorp to 36%. Another one here, Senate Constitutes Welfare Committee, adjourned sitting. First-timer LP lawmaker emerges speaker in PDP-dominated Abia Assembly. Ondo acting governor speaks on Akeredolu's health issues in government. And lastly, from the Premium Times newspaper this morning, Edwin Clark writes EFCC accuses ex-governor of misappropriating over 1 trillion naira.
All right, we move to the Vanguard newspaper. And our first story here, this one is Honor urges NBA to preserve sanctity of profession and deregulation. Ipman advises marketers on merger. Delta CJ frees 4, grant bail to others at Kwale Correctional Center. Stop chasing shadows, defend alleged money laundering, vote buying, APC tells Adebutu. Sanwo-Olu celebrates with Ambode on 60th birthday. And we also find 10th NAS, all G5 governors backed Akpabio, Abbas election, Wike. Senator John's plenary until July 4. Make it easy for us to get Forex for our fees. Nigerian students abroad beg Tinubu. Tinubu suspends the FCC chairman Abdul Rashid Bawa. And how I was tied up, raped by daddy, 9-year-old victim. Narrates. Abiodun appoints 6 special advisors. Presidential poll, court gives Tinubu INEC nod to grill Atiku's statistician. Away from that, subsidy, small business owners decry low patronage. Ill health, let's pray for Governor Akeredolu, says Ondo acting governor. Loan will cover for both private, public students, federal government. Senate writes Tinubu on inauguration. And finally, Gbajabiamila assumes office as chief of staff.
All right, from the Nation newspaper, breaking, Tinubu suspends EFCC chair. Bawa student loan scheme takes off September. Federal government. You also find this one. Council greets Tinubu Shetima. Businessman seeks support for SMEs. Kogi 2023 APC candidate asks court to dismiss suit. Shoyinka unveils the Putin files tomorrow. How Nigeria can get out of poverty trap by AFDB advisor. Envoy Akpabio's victory good for unity. Take some more stories here from the Nation newspaper. Synergy is an editorial from the Nation this morning. Petroleum Industry Act, PIA, salvation of suicide for Nigerian economy. You also find that from the Nation newspaper this morning. Some of the stories.
All right, to The Guardian, experts canvass e-learning for children with special needs. Rep summon Neymar DG over flood prediction and Tinubu's national security doctrine. NLC confirms government plan to award workers' wages to cushion effects of subsidy removal. And some more story, Naira slumps as CBN commences rate immunization, faces supply hurdle. INEC LP bicker over subpoena as OB tenders IREV reports. DSS invites suspended EFCC chairman. AMCON's bid to return Arik Air to founder fails twice over 240.3 billion naira debt. Kenyan president wants less circulation of dollars in Africa. Federal government to begin disbursement of student loans September. And some more stories. Outrage as Kano government demolishes multi-million naira monument. And we just take a look at some more stories on The Guardian. Elder stakeholders condemn genocide in Bayelsa. Seek intervention. Federal government tasks youths on blood donation to close 1.5 million units deficit. Obaseki issues proclamation on 8th Edo Assembly. And this one also says on the entertainment side, Portable bashes hookups discouraging wife. And finally, 2 killed in shooting at Japan Army training range.
We take some stories from the Nigerian Tribune. Ogundoyin re-elected Oyo Assembly Speaker. Gbajabiamila resigns as House of Reps member. Death toll hits 106 in Kwara boat mishap. That's according to the police. 10th Assembly, we arrived in NAS complex 4 a.m. to prevent 2015 scenario. Senator Bamidele. An explainer here. What happens if elected lawmaker resigns after inauguration? More stories from the Nigerian Tribune this morning. You have this one. Condemnations trail demolition of Kano Government House roundabout. Condemnations trail demolition of Kano Government House roundabout. Hajj pilgrimage. 156 intending pilgrims will not perform Hajj due to oversale of seats. Police arrest 2 cult members in Lagos. NUPRC and MDPRA bicker over Exxon Mobil butane lifting at Bonny Terminal. Our partner agencies to decongest correctional centers, Bauchi Governor assures NCS and the LEA, Tinubu Shetima redeemers who mean well for Nigerians, Delta Chiefs, and Don harps on welfare for chemistry teachers.
All right, we're going to break now. When we return, we'll be back with the analysis. To stay with us.
Stay tuned to 32 FM 94.9.
Guy, see how many power bank only you dey carry. You dey sell am.
Oh boy, I get many important meetings today. I no fit miss them.
My brother, you dey give yourself wahala.
How na?
You suppose dey use the INT'L P40 to dey power yourself. Enjoy real power with all new INT'L P40. With just one charge, enjoy 3 days of fun with a 6000 mAh mega battery with fast charge and 7GB RAM. Also get 5GB data from Airtel for just 1000 naira when you buy INT'L P40 and activate with an Airtel 4G SIM card. SMS GET to 141 now. INT'L P40, one charge for 3 days.
Ìfẹ́ tí kò lábàwọ́n ni ìfẹ́ ìyá jẹ́. Bẹ́ẹ̀ kò sí ohun tó dùn tó bíi Indomie alájẹpọnu lákọlọ. Nítorí náà, fi ìfẹ́ hàn pẹ̀lú Indomie.
Ìbàdàn máa jẹ̀gbín yó ọmọ àfikàràmù fọ́ orí mu. Samsung ti dé pẹ̀lú àwọn ìfilọ́lẹ̀ tó jẹ tí ń gbèsè. Gba Bluetooth speaker ohun à ń fetí gbọ́ni gbọ́rọ̀ àti power bank alágbára lọ́nà ẹgbẹ̀rún 20 mílíọ̀nù per hour. Tó o bá ra ẹ̀yà ẹ̀rọ Samsung A series tá a yàn. Wàá tún gba aago ìbọ̀wọ́ Samsung Watch 5 tó o bá ra ẹ̀yà S23 series àbí Samsung Watch 5 Pro tó o bá ra Flip 4 àbí Fold 4. Ó yà ọ́ lẹ́nu àbí? Yára ṣàṣà lọ sí Play Mọ́kọ́lá kó lọ jẹ àwọn àǹfààní agbọ́nmálè lọ wọ̀nyí. Àdéhùn àtàsọtẹ́lẹ̀ ń bẹ o.
ẹni tí ò bá mọ̀nà kì í dá pàdépàdé a jẹ́ pé gbogbo ẹni tó bá ń jàrọ̀kọ̀ àti lọ gbé kàwé tàbí ṣiṣẹ́ lókè òkun léyìíkéyìí orílẹ̀-èdè bíi Canada, UK, Cyprus, Australia tó fi mọ́ ọ̀pọ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè ní Europe. Bauhop Consult ni ẹ bá dòwò pọ̀ bí wọ́n ṣe mójúlẹ́jà àti bá ní ṣètò ìrìn àjò sókè òkun ni wọ́n tún jẹ́ aṣojú ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ilé ẹ̀kọ́ nílẹ̀ aláwọ̀ funfun fẹ́nikẹ́ni tó bá fẹ́ kàwé nílùú òyìnbó wọ́n bá ní ṣètò iṣẹ́ pẹ̀lú ìrànwọ́ ètò ẹ̀yáwó fákẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ìyẹn student loan tó fi mọ́ scholarship bí ọgọ́ làwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tó bá ṣe IELTS lọ́dọ̀ wọn ṣàṣeyọrí àjẹpẹ́ boko bá jìnnà ẹ̀ lákìíkò. Bauhop Consult wà ní nọ́mbà 55 Liberty Stadium Road àdójúkọ Lano House off Òkè Àdó Ìbàdàn. ẹ̀ka wọn sì wà ní 15/17 Solaron Plaza Akówọjọ Road Ẹ̀gbẹ́dá nípínlẹ̀ Èkó. fún àlàyé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ ẹ pè 0815-677-6425 website www.bauhopconsult.com.ng. wọ́n wà lórí ìkànnì ìbánidọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ gbogbo Twitter, Facebook àti Instagram @Bauhop Consult. kọ́kọ́rọ́ tó ṣílẹ̀kùn àti tẹkọ̀ létí lọ sókè òkun.
Makole Marale.
Ọdún iléyá wọlé wẹ́rẹ́ bá wa láàyè ìdẹ̀ra alihamdulilayi. iléeṣẹ́ Zenith Real Estate and Properties Limited ló ní kẹ́ ẹ ra lẹ̀kẹ́ ẹgbẹ̀rún ọdún promo idli kabri lélẹ́yìí OPP ó pọ̀ pa. ẹ̀dínwó ti wà lórí àwọn ilẹ̀ estate wa pátá o. Kings Park Estate Mọ́níyà Ìbàdàn 1.4 million naira. Achifas Estate ní Ìdó 700,000 naira. Sun City Estate Alábàtà Mọ́níyà Ìbàdàn 1.5 million naira. Rehoboth Park and Garden Estate Elekuru Mọ́níyà 800,000 naira. Treasure Land Estate ní òpópónà Funab Alábàtà Abẹ́òkúta 150,000 naira. Greenland Estate Phase 1 Alábàtà Abẹ́òkúta 300,000 naira. bó o bá ṣe ń sanwó láǹfọ̀n nílẹ̀ rẹ̀ táwọn sì ṣe corner piece fún ọ lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́. ìwọ náà wá ara lẹ̀ lọ́dọ̀ wa kó o gbẹ̀bùn bíi ẹran àgbò ìrẹsì òróró fan amómitutù àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. June 11 sí July 11 ní promo yìí wà fún o. Zenith Real Estate and Properties Limited wà ní dojúkọ IITA lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ Àrẹ̀mú Block Industry Ọjọ́ Mọ́níyà Road Ìbàdàn. fún àlàyé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ 081-410-39905 tàbí kó WhatsApp wọn lórí 081-409-42376. Zenith Real Estate and Properties Limited. Baka Disala.
Right. So, guys, this is the plan. We go in at sunrise, and we attack without mercy. Glow World Shops won't see us coming. Taye, you got to make sure we get all the best phones, all right?
Yes, boss.
Lara, you have to make sure that we don't miss the 18GB bonus deals for 6 months.
Understood, sir.
Chigozie, your job is to draw up the payment plan. Codename, Pay Small Small. Chigozie, are you sleeping? Chigozie.
Relax. There's enough time for you to get your preferred smartphones and enjoy sweet deals at Glow World. Walk into any Glow World shop, your one-stop shop for devices and gadgets, and get 18GB bonus data when you buy your phone, which you can pay for at your convenience.
Glow Unlimited.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Thank you for staying with us on the Break of Dawn this morning. I am DENIKE Adimwago.
And I'm Kenny Durutilu. Professor Lord Jerukun joins us this morning. Good morning, Prof. It's great to have you.
Top of the day to you, and of course, it's a pleasure to be here.
All right. So one of the major stories this morning in the papers has to do with President Bola Tinubu having been described as a hurricane for suspending the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) chairman Abdulrasheed Bawa. Now we understand that, of course, that he has been suspended, and yes, he's also going to be queried as regards, certain allegations and all of that. Your thoughts on that particular one?
Yeah, well, some call him a hurricane. I think his pace has been blistering since he started. And I think it's quite clear is that he's determined to do things differently, and he's determined to get to the root of some certain matters, bordering on financial crimes, bordering on the security, and bordering on the economy. And to some people, this would have been a surprise. In fact, some people would question why the president should have the power to remove or suspend the EFCC when he himself, at some point in time, may even be under investigation. But it's quite clear that a member of the commission may at any time be removed by the president for inability to discharge the functions of his office, whether arising from infirmity of mind or body or any other cause or for misconduct, if the president is satisfied, it is not in the interest of the commission or in the interest of the public that the member should continue in office. So he clearly does have the power. Right. I know that around December or so, the Senate wanted to whittle down the powers of the president to remove the EFCC chair, and there was a time when it was very difficult, but it does have the power. I think you have to give this president his due. And his due is that he wants to start on a clean slate, and he's allowed to do that. One wonders what the issues are, but I know that the plate of the SEC is full because there are a lot of allegations. You know, we're not saying people are guilty, but there are a lot of allegations across the board. Right. And if they're going to be investigated, then you need someone whose hands are clean and who can do the job effectively. You know, from that point of view, I don't know whether there are any ulterior motives for his suspension, but I know that the president is entitled to do that.
Yeah, we have last we heard was Emefiele. He was also arrested by the DSCC, yes. And now we're having this person now as well. What do you make of this? In the space of how many weeks we're having this back to back in this manner. Some would say that yes, he's hitting the ground running as president. Others might have reservations.
Do you look forward to more heads rolling?
Oh, we certainly do. I'm sure Nigerians certainly do, because in the last 8 years, some would even say 4 years, there's not really been much governance going on. In fact, people say that there's the greatest economic haste, in the sense that people have actually been stealing Nigerians blind in various offices. Nobody has been able to prove it. But the only way you can prove this is by investigation. And if you're going to investigate, then you suspend the people concerned. So I expect more to follow. I expect more questions to be raised. But you said in a space of weeks. It's actually in a space of days. I think what is happening with this government is that they want to demonstrate one thing, that they can govern. The last government hardly governed, you understand. Okay, Abba Kyari tried when he was there as chief of staff. But when Abba Kyari fell, unfortunately lost his life, governors stopped in this country, and you had the likes of Tunde Sabiu and so on and so forth, pulling the strings, Malami and so on. But this government is trying to say that we are going to work in unison, we're going to have a purpose, and we're going to have a plan. We need to get to the bottom of some of the economic crimes. We need to get to the bottom of insecurity so that Nigeria can begin to thrive again. We're not thriving, we're not flourishing. We are basically, wilting.
All right, still speaking of the president has signed the electricity bill into law, which allows state governments to issue licenses to private investors who can operate mini grids and power plants within the state. And of course, the story goes on, and the 36 states and FCT in the country have now been given responsibility and authority and empowered to issue license to potential private investors. What are the prospects of this newly signed Electricity Act?
Well, the prospects are that it's going to open it up entirely. Previously there used to be a limit to, even if we have exclusive list and concurrent list. And even on the concurrent list, there was a limit to which you could generate and distribute. Very, very minuscule, very tiny limit. Now what it means is that private sector, the state government, can generate as little or as much as they want for the benefit of their various state. It opens up the economy, of course, because if you can only generate a small amount, then that means your investment is going to be limited. You don't need to be mega in terms of generation. But it also means that we may get to a state where we don't have power blackouts again. It means universities can generate, and then if they have excess, they serve their communities. Already we have places like RCCG doing such. They could increase their capacity, to cover most of the surrounding area. I think it just means that the economy will get a lift and a boost, because some of the reasons why things are so expensive is the added cost of fuel, the added cost of maintaining your generators, and of course in some instances some people even use solar. You have to change batteries every 2 or 3 years. All those are added costs.
Also, he signed, sorry to cut you short, he signed the Data Protection Act. Some might argue that what data are we protecting in the country? Do we even have data really?
No, I think the data means that, for instance, you don't suddenly get calls, or you don't suddenly get all this SMS message because one of your cronies, you understand, God forbid, one of your cronies is in debt, and all of a sudden they start sending you messages. Your data should be protected. There should be ways in which your data is data is kept. In other words, somebody cannot just come to me and say, "Oh, King Kenny, can I have his number?" You understand? Under data protection, if you reveal that without contacting Kenny, you understand, then you're in trouble. And so the law is to protect people's privacy and to ensure that information is handled in a way, that it should be. For instance, if they collect information for you for your passport, it is not the duty of the passport office to be revealing to banks or any other person your details. That is the purpose for which it was collected, except you waive your rights, from that point of view. So it's a good law in that sense. But the question I ask is that this was a law that was passed by the last Senate. And I'm asking the question, if it was passed by the last Senate, when did he actually sign it? Did he sign it before the new Senate came into being? Because what happens is that if laws are passed by the last Senate and the president also sign it before the Senate expires, then those laws lapse. So I don't know exactly when it was signed, but I would imagine that his lawyers got it right.
Certainly a good thing, seeing as it's going to be bringing or creating 500,000 jobs expected to be created as a result of this one and all of that. Once again, the Tinubu administration moving at full pace. Is this something that is just an initial enthusiasm, or do you think that this is going to be sustained?
I hope it's not. I hope it's not an initial enthusiasm, but it seems to be running a 100-meter sprint. When indeed we have a marathon ahead. But if he's able to sustain the tempo, the concern that some of us have always had about President Tinubu, and that concern might have been misguided, was that will he have the pace, will he have the strength, will he have the medical, medically fit to do it? And I think it's putting some of us to shame. It's telling us that I have the strength, I have the ability, and I have, the know-how and the acumen to run this race. So Nigeria needs somebody, a full-time president, not a part-time president. And I think President Tinubu, at least for now, is demonstrating that he's full-time.
All right, he's unified. Talked about Tinubu again. He promised rather to unify the nation's multiple exchange rates. News we're getting this morning, the Central Bank of Nigeria has announced the unification of all segments of the Nigerian forex market and all of that. What that means is buyers and sellers of foreign currency in the official FX markets are now allowed to quote rates they find comfortable in the FX market, as against the previous practice where rates were dictated by the central bank. Now, following that development just yesterday, the Naira depreciated to 664 Naira to the dollar. Your thoughts on all of that?
Well, in effect, what we're having is deregulation. In effect, what we're having is, the Naira losing its value. The Naira has been devalued. There's no doubt about that. But, we had two rates. One was 400 and something or something like that. And the other was about 700 and something. Two rates. And people were exploiting it. There's even an argument that officials at the CBN, it's not been proven, were even exploiting it. Government officials were exploiting it. So first and foremost, no one exploits this anymore. You understand? Nobody's doing arbitrage or round tripping or whatever it's called. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that we'll now get certainty. Foreign people that come in this country for foreign direct investment, they want certainty. You understand? If you don't get certainty, then why would you invest? You want to know what your returns will be. You want to know that if you're going to manufacturing and you buy stuff, you buy it at a particular rate so that when you sell, you know what to sell at. So I think it's a good thing. In the short term, it might cost them pain. But why not? You understand? If it's going to get the longer term gain for us, from that point of view. So I think it's a welcome development. And it had to take the suspension, of the CBN governor, for us to begin to clear the cobwebs. So I think there's going to be a policy change in many respects from CBN. And just watch this space. I would say watch this space.
So you see the long-term benefits of this. Do you think that the decision was carefully made, though?
Yeah, I think, yes. Well, I don't know that it was carefully made, but I know that it makes sense. And I know it makes sense because if you look at similar economies run around the world, that's the way they run it. We were trying to run a regulated economy. Economy of the 70s and the 80s for economies of the 2000s and beyond. We don't run economies like that anymore. People are not going to invest in your economy if you over-regulate it. And we had a regulation, we had fiat from the central bank. The central bank cannot control events. Why? Because we have a globalized economy. This brings us more in line with what is going on, global trends, and what's going on in the world.
All right, so this particular headline, federal government to begin disbursement of student loans September. And of course, this made the news earlier in the week when the federal government said they were going to of course, create student loans to give access to students, interest-free loans, and all of that. And now it's been rolled into motion. They are hoping that September to October of this 2023 to 2024 academic session, it will come into fruition, right? And according to this report, the president is taking this very seriously and even wants to see recipients of these loans. Do you think that maybe at the end of the day, our worries might be put to bed as regards this loan issue?
I think that's a bit of being optimistic. But let's be very clear. This is not the first time we've had loans. We used to have loans before in the past. The problem with it is that a lot of people abused it, and because a lot of people abused it, it wasn't sustainable. The difference this time is that there are penalties attached to this. So you can't just come and just do whatever you want. And there are guarantors, you understand, that must accompany you. It is going to increase access to education. There's no doubt about that. But also the implication of that is people are going to increase tuition fees and introduce tuition fees. Federal schools, federal government universities are already introducing tuition fees in anticipation of that. Because the logic of people is going to say, well, government is going to pay it. You understand? You're going to get a loan. So, yes, you can afford to pay it, even though you're going to have to pay it back. So I think it's going to increase access. It's not going to solve the entire problems, but certainly it's going to mean that some people who don't have access to cooperative, co-op is in it, who don't have access to agile and all those sort of things, will have another alternative. Of course, the price will be steep in the sense that even though it's interest-free, you are going to have to find somebody who trusts you.
Is it more an issue of access or an issue of quality?
Well, I think it's both. I think access in the sense that, I know what you mean, in terms of quality, but I think access in the sense that there are so many people who want to go to university and are unable to go there or are going there at extortionate, exorbitant rate. Quality in the sense that the people that are going to get this loan is not everybody. It's going to be people who can bring people of poverty to guarantee them. If you don't have people of poverty to guarantee, you're not going to get any loan because the government is not going to give it to you. The government wants to be sure they get this money back. They don't want it to go the way of People's Bank or the way of Trader Money or the way of Anchor Borrower Scheme. The government wants to get this money back. Why? Because the only way you can sustain this program is by people paying back so that the next generation of people can also get these loans.
All right, we'll take some commercials now. When we come back, we'll be opening the phone lines to get your reactions to stories. Stay with us.
So far away.
Mornings are for dreamers.
I'm a dreamer, yes, I'm a dreamer. Oh,
The break of dawn for champions.
champion, champion, champion,
On 32 FM 94.9.
Every day is another chance to do it all over again.
Get the best of starts on the break of dawn. 32 FM 94.9. From motivationals
To news,
to sports and talk.
we'll give you all you need to make the best of your day.
On the break of dawn. 32 FM 94.9.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM 94.9. The antidote to depression.
It's 7 a.m. Rise up to the tantalizing aroma of Golden Penny Noodles goat meat pepper soup flavor. Golden Penny Noodles. I want what I want.
We are all gathered here today to witness the joining of all 32 of you in blissful matrimony to Glow MiFi and Router. Do you, Wi-Fi enabled devices, take this Glow MiFi and Router as your lawful data plug?
yes we do.
Do you, Glow MiFi and Router, promise to be there in good times and in Sakba?
Yes we do.
Now you may stay connected.
Enjoy a connected life with Glow MiFi and Router. Get 60 gigabytes data bonus when you buy a Glow MiFi and 180 gigabytes data bonus when you buy a Glow Router. And connect up to 32 Wi-Fi enabled devices. Available at Glow World shops nationwide.
Glow Unlimited.
Naija people with the yarn better tori abeg. Man like Osimhen. Baba just the chop Italian league like Chelsea want them. Man, you they wait. Even Mourinho they hate. Come off it.
No one tells a story like we do. Stream live football, local and international shows on Showmax, Africa's original streaming service. Sign up at showmax.com.
I'm living the life cause I get to
Hey, kọ́ńbù ẹ̀kú àlejò imú gbòǹgbò ọ̀nà ẹ̀kú àlejò ẹsẹ̀ Ìbàdàn nílé Olúyọ̀lé ẹ̀kú àmójúbà Tizeti Network Limited pẹ̀lú Tizeti ìlò omi òjò lẹ́ẹ̀ máa lo ayélujára internet ní yàwàlù torí pé gbajúgbajà ní iléeṣẹ́ Tizeti Network Limited nídìí ìpèsè ayélujára lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà fún iléeṣẹ́ ńláńlá àti olókoòwò kéékèèké lábẹ́ àbúradà Tizeti ẹ lè browse kẹ́ stream kẹ́ sì tún gbá géèmù bó ṣe wù yín láì níkọ̀sẹ̀ pẹ̀lú ìlànà ẹgbẹ̀lẹ́mùkú data kèé máa ṣeré ìwọ ni kò má sọ̀fànù 12,500 naira péré lẹ́ẹ̀fì jẹ mùlá data fódìdí oṣù kan gbáko lábẹ́ àbúradà Tizeti láì níkọ̀sẹ̀ ẹ kàn sí wifi.com.ng/oyo ẹ sì lè pe 0122987886 tàbí kẹ́ ẹ tẹ àtẹ̀jíṣẹ́ sí internet@wifi.com.ng ayélujára ní yàwàlù.
Nǹkan tí mo bá ṣe ò ní fẹ́ mi láì ní òdiwọ̀n ó tó gbẹ́kẹ̀lé lójoojúmọ́ kò sóhun tí mo bá ṣe ó fi fẹ́ hàn mí.
Ìfẹ́ tí kò lábàwọ́n ni ìfẹ́ ìyá jẹ́. Bẹ́ẹ̀ kò sí ohun tó dùn tó bíi Indomie alájẹpọnu lákọlọ. Nítorí náà, fi ìfẹ́ hàn pẹ̀lú Indomie.
Ó fi fẹ́ hàn mí.
This is what it sounds like when you mindlessly munch away at your snacks. Boring, dull, routine snacking.
And this is what it sounds like when snacking is loud, proud, gooey, chewy, playful, joyful, and all-round fun. Because when joyless snacking attacks, we'll be there to fight back. Snack out loud with Fanta.
ọmọ ikọ̀ ẹ̀yìn gan lásán. ẹ wo mo ti lo oògùn ó ti sú mi. àṣìlò oògùn ìyẹn ò dáa. kí ni kí n wá ṣe nígbà tí mi ò lówó ilé ìwòsàn. kí ni nígbà tí ètò ìlera INT'L and Axamansard wà nílẹ̀. òótọ́ ni pẹ̀lú ètò ìlera INT'L Axamansard o láǹfààní láti rí dókítà gba ìwòsàn àtọwọ́ ìwòsàn tó tó $1,100 náírà. testa 141*44# báyìí láti yan ètò tó tẹ́ ọ lọ́rùn.
INT'L, a reason to imagine.
32 FM 94.9.
All right, 0705 5949, 0829 7949. The Break It Down's paper review. This morning, we're taking your reactions to the headlines making the newspapers this morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Professor Oluojedo. The president is all out to make a difference, and I'm happy with that. Allegations have been levied against Emefiele and the Bauer before BAT became president. And the only way you can get to the root of the allegation is to suspend them to give room for proper investigation to be carried out. Nigerians will equally be delighted, especially myself, if the president can bring his satellites on the NNPC and the other government agencies, so long as he does not use the deodorant cream at this exercise approach to fight corruption. Apology to Senator Steve from John Job is my name. Thank you.
All right.
0705 5949 and 0809 7949. We're also live on Facebook, 32FM 9490, but as well as YouTube, 32FM 9490. But hello.
DENIKE, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I've actually been expecting Bauer to be relieved of his post after the allegations that Prof, we all know that in saner crimes, I'm allowed to use that word. If you are accused, you excuse yourself to clear yourself. At least I knew of a particular minister of housing, a female, who did that in this country. To me, that was the first person I've heard do it. I actually expected him to have excused himself and clear his name. So I think the president is taking a step which every other Nigeria actually wants him to do. Probably let's give him this support and see if more. I am looking at more other people who I wouldn't want to call the names here, but a lot of other people should also be relieved. Probably by then, our nation might get it right for once. Good morning. Okay.
All right, thank you. Okay, Prof, you want to react to that?
No, I think he said the correct thing. I think he said the correct thing, and the correct thing is that if there are allegations about you, serious allegations, then step aside and let them beam the satellite. And this is just the beginning of a lot, because I think there's going to be a Pandora box that is going to be opened. And the Pandora box is going to mean many more people are going to have questions to ask. I think for 8 years, people did whatever they wanted. It was laissez-faire governance. Now we have focused governance, or we appear to be having it. So expect much more.
All right, speaking of probing, man, Ganduje has asked the court to stop EFCC probe. Now, there's a particular video that emerged in 2018, a dollar video, which showed him allegedly receiving stacks of dollars from a contractor. Now, he's asking a high court in Kano to restrain the EFCC from probing him. Now, of course, this case has been existing for a while. Does Ganduje have the right to demand to not be probed and to pass up on accountability?
No, it certainly doesn't. But the argument of some people have been, does EFCC have the right to probe what goes on in the state government? That's always been the argument, that they should concern themselves with federal matters and so on. But I don't think that holds any water at all if you look at the act setting up the EFCC. So I don't think a court can stop the statutory functions insofar as they're doing it correctly in accordance with the law as far as procedure is concerned. But you must ask the question, does Ganduje have anything to hide? And if he has nothing to hide, what's the problem in him being probed? What's the problem? And this happened about 5 years ago, didn't it? When the president and commander-in-chief, the then president, gave him a pass. And now he's not going to get that pass. And I hope the court, you understand, as usual, will do the right thing and allow the probe to go on without being impeded.
0705 5949 and 0809 7949 to react to any of the conversations this morning. We have some comments on Facebook.
All right, on Facebook, Balkis Onodiron says the president has done wonders by suspending the CBN governor and EFCC directors in just 7 days. Bauer didn't bring that youthful energy as well as we all anticipated to the EFCC when Emefiele, on the other hand, was busy imposing intolerable suffering, I believe, on the people, on Nigerians. With his demonic monetary policies, the IGP and the NMPC and NNDC bosses are next because they overstayed. The president keeps striking at night to sanitize the system. Interesting one there. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, my name is Mario, calling from Apata. Well, it's a nice one that the president has released Mr. Bauer of his appointment. But let's not be on that only. Let him try the fast administration. Some people have to come on board, and because some of them they misuse their offices. Someone like Malami, the past division minister as well. He must also be questioned. Not only those that are not only Malami, not only Emefiele. Thank you very much.
All
right, thank you very much. Omotayo Oluwarotimi says the government should make sure the economy is very buoyant before embarking on such a gigantic scheme as a student loan program. Instead, it should concentrate on creating massive and lucrative jobs for Nigerians and give scholarships to very enterprising students. What's your take on this particular comment, Prof?
Well, I disagree. I think all those things can be done in tandem.
Sorry, please hold our thoughts. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, okay. Good morning. My name is Movie. I'm calling from New York. Right. Sir, I greet all the guests in the studio. I guess I greet yourself. I expect you. I've been listening to your opinions, for a while. But I think this one just said a while ago. That's what I recalled. Tinubu is doing a fantastic job, and more people will answer questions just like someone like Ganduje. Ganduje is a party man of Bola Tinubu. So there's nothing going to happen. All this is doing right now, those power show. So forever, nothing will come out of this. I can assure you that. Ganduje is the kind of Tinubu. Forget about what he's doing. This will let you know. So don't be disappointed in the end, okay? All right, so I will not be there, everybody.
All right, thank you.
Well, it's interesting that Ganduje is a friend of Tinubu, and yet Tinubu seems to be cavorting with Kwankwaso. So I don't necessarily agree with that premise. I think the right thing is being done. Let's wait. Let's not prejudge the situation and wait to the end.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, everyone in the studio. This is John Olariwaju from Ado.
All right.
On the issue of Dawa, to me, there is nothing new. Even when Buhari newly came in, they started taking the people. At the end of the day, what next? So they want to change it. It's like somebody that newly packed into the new house. We started readjust everything. We pack all those things that is not necessary there. And we put all the necessary things here that is needed. That's what the government is doing now. It's not a new thing to me. So for the loan, as far as I'm concerned, I don't even in support of the loan as far as I'm concerned. Because if you look at, I think you journalists need to help us. Maybe you have to set one day and bring the analysts that will tell us about the conditions attached to this loan. You know, if you check all these conditions that are attached to this, many people do not even know, do not understand that there are conditions that is very strict, very difficult for the people to get access to this loan. Especially the poor child of the people. They will not be able to get it. The truth has to be told. Thank you and good morning.
Right, I think it was one of the things we're talking about off air, about the modalities of the loan. If, for instance, a person passes, maybe while the person is in school or, schooling, who pays the loan? What happens afterwards? So I guess eventually we're going to get some sort of understanding to more things, right? You want to say something?
No, I think the terms and conditions will be much clearer. I think we have the general guidelines at the moment. We're going to get the terms and conditions. But I think what would apply to other loans will normally apply to this loan. What happens if you have a loan and you pass away? Usually to be the estate. But in this case, these people hardly have any estate.
All right, you were talking about the comment we're talking about creating lucrative jobs for Nigerians and giving scholarships, and you said you don't exactly agree.
Yes, I think they can be done in tandem. I think you can't do one in the isolation of the other. Of course, having the loans, you understand, is what you want to do is ensure that we have a country that is well educated and that finance does not stop them from going ahead, from being educated. We need a well-educated populace, and a well-educated populace means a productive populace, and that also adds to the wealth of the country. And at the same time, you can deregulate the economy, you can do things that make finance work at the same time. You don't have to do one before the other.
All right, on Facebook, Jerry Anete says, good morning. While the Education Loan Act is commendable, my question is, why is it regulated by the CBN, considering the multiple roles this institution played in the last administration and the many failed schemes? Anchor borrowers, for instance. Access, yes, but does this improve the quality of education in any way?
Well, it's a question that's been asked before. Does it improve the quality? I think time will tell whether it will improve the quality. Does more access mean better quality? It doesn't necessarily mean, but more investment in the universities will mean better quality, of course.
Timothy Okoria says Ganduje trying to stop EFCC shows he really has skeletons in his cupboards. The same thing is applicable to Tinubu's bullion vans. Rajafi says, good morning, Kenny and DENIKE. About the suspension of the EFCC chairman by President Tinubu, honestly, this is another right step by this administration. At least this will serve as caution for other government office holders against the corruption and other related matter. New Nigeria is possible. God bless Nigeria. It's time for us to leave. Yes, it's time for us to leave the studio. Thank you so much for doing this with us, Professor Oluwajedokun. Thank you, dear listener, for sticking with us through this. We're back again tomorrow, 6:30 a.m. My name is Adenike Adimuago.
My name is Kenny Durutilu. Good morning.